Well, what is going on, gang? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. I've got something on the table that I really like, actually. This is from Ameight Knives, which is Ameight, which is a division of Miguron. I've known Sam for a long time. In the interest of full disclosure, he sent this along to me to check out, which I thought was very nice of him. This is the Gladiator, and it is one of their budget knives. This comes in at about 49 bucks. And it is surprisingly comfortable in hand. It is a good size knife. We'll get to that in just a minute. It's got a really nice blade shape on it. It is 14C28N. It is G10 steel liners running on bearings. It is not lefty friendly, which, I mean, they probably could have done. Deployment is a couple of ways. You got thumb studs that absolutely work. And of course, you got a nice flipper back here that also works every single time. I really like this thing. Just as a budget everyday work tool, it is very, very well done. First, the handle is neutral in shape and design. It's got a spot right here for your finger. It also has a forward choil that is big enough for my fingers, which means they're probably big enough for yours. You can get your hand up here if you really wanted to work up close. It's a flat grind, basically a saber grind, as you can see. It drops down nicely to a really well done edge, which is very nice. 14C holds an edge pretty well. It is very rust and stain resistant. It is probably my favorite budget knife steel for that reason. It's got a stamp steel, but deep carry pocket clip, which works exceptionally well. It's got plenty of spring, plenty of ramp. It doesn't flex out in your pocket, which is nice. The steel liners are, you see that, just barely milled out, so it's a little bit of weight savings in there. Gladiator is just well done. Check it out. It's got a little bit of lanyard spot back there if you're into that sort of thing. Let's go ahead and get some size comparisons out of the way. It is a full-size knife. Here it is against the PM2. And as you can see, these knives are about the same length, although you get significantly more cutting area on the Gladiator. What did I do with my... There it is. Here it is against the Para 3. Right. It is much larger than that. Now, both the Para 3 and the PM2 share this design where there's a lot of knife when it's closed. Let's see how it compares to the Gladiator. The Gladiator is a little thinner, but not much, right? It's just a Para 3 is a little taller. What else do we have on the table that's interesting? Well, here it is against an XM18, and as you can see, the Gladiator is virtually the same length as a traditional XM18. How about big knives? Oh, how about the XM24? XM24 is going to be just bigger, right? And then for those of you that have been buying knives recently, I'm sure at least one of you has this. That's the Pyrite. This is the Bowie version. As you can see, the Gladiator is considerably larger. These knives are, if you get the basic budget version of the Pyrite, it's about the same price as a Gladiator. As I said, these come in, I think, 49 and change, so just under 50 bucks. That's a really tough market because there's so many knives in that price range. So if you're going to do that, make sure you like what you're getting. I like this. This is going to go live in my car in the glove box. I mean, I'm a knife collector. I've got a ton of fancy stuff that I carry around in my pocket, but it is always good to have a knife in a little go bag or a little tool that's handy in your car. And for me, this really rings all those bells. So the handle itself is really good. We had this at the garden the other day, for instance, and I was cutting out weeds. The way the handle is designed, it left no hot spots. Even the pocket clip, which after a while, this little edge did dig into my palm a little bit, but I was working for a long time. I really like the blade shape on this. Now, there is a fancier version of this that I'm going to look into, but because I really do like the blade shape, and I think I'd like to have a fancy version of this knife. But for now, it's got a G10 backspacer, and I said G10, didn't I? I apologize. This is my Carta. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. I'm really not. So you get my Carta, you get a G10 backspacer, steel liners, running on bearings, 14C blade. Let's get the basic specs out of the way so you know what you're getting yourself into. From tip to tail, the Gladiator here is 8 1/4 inches overall. that gives you 3 1/4 inches of cutting on a little over 3 3/4 inches of blade overall, which is really nice. The grip area from behind that flipper tab is coming in at 4 inches, but if you come forward and grab that choil, you're talking about you get the full length of the knife, right? So it is more than enough knife even for me. So it's not very heavy either. Action's very good, as you can see. It is quick. A little bit of bounce there, the detent, but it's not soft. Like you gotta push it out. Makes a good sound when it closes too. The micarta is milled a little bit, as you can see, to give it a little more. I mean, micarta's sticky anyway, but these lines give it a little side-to-side texture, which is nice. Some jimping on the flipper, and some jimping right here where your thumb would land. I really like that blade shape. Have I said that? I feel like I don't say that enough, because man, I really like that blade shape. Now, it's a flat grind. It's not hollow. It is two-tone, though. It is... You can see the belt satin along this side. You can actually see the lines. I'm not sure if my light's going to do that any justice today. And, of course, they ground it the other direction for the blade itself. So it comes off as almost two-tone. It's not. It's just the way the grind lines go. It's got the little Ameight logo on that side. And that's it. It is a really clean blade. Now, on the Miguron stuff and on some Ameight stuff, there's usually a logo or something on the pivot, but this is very plain. It is T8s all the way around, which is really nice, except those. Those are T6s. Closed length on the Gladiator here. Oh, I'm just going to move everything. Why don't I? Sure, there we go. We're talking about 4 1/2 inches. Not bad. Let's weigh it. See how much it comes in at. I like stuff like this. I mean, I've got a knife collection that's just, it's Looney Tunes. It really is. But I never forget where I came from. And this is absolutely where I came from. You know, $25, $30 knives from, you know, Big Five or some sporting goods store on the way up to camping. The difference is those old knives at that price range back in the 8CR days or 5CR, whatever they were making them out of, would last pretty much that camping trip. This will last a lot longer than that. All right, let's see where it weighs in at. 4.8 ounces. I mean, it's steel, right? It's a reasonably thick slice of that 14C as well. Let's take a look. Back here at the thickest point. Let's open that up because that feels wonky. Yeah, we're talking about 3 millimeters of 14C. I like Miguron, the company. I like Sam, the guy that runs the company. He and I were talking, it was actually during COVID, that he invented the Ameight or Ameight knives. And I have to tell you, I wasn't sure about that name, but he's really done cool stuff with it. The fancier stuff tends to be Miguron. The daily user, sort of more budget stuff, tends to fall in the Ameight line, although he does have some expensive stuff in the Ameight line too. But for the most part, he's leaned Ameight into his sort of budget-friendly, kind of everyday tool category, and he's done a really good job. The liners are not proud. They are flush with the micarta scales, and everything lines up really well. The liners are polished, which is nice. They are not, and they're beveled actually. You can see there's a little bit of chamfering on the inside. So there are no sharp edges here. No, except where you want it, which is on that edge. The Ameight Knives Gladiator, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, before, you know, they're dropping 50, 60, 80, 100 knives a month, it seems like, from various companies. This would have been a showstopper. It would have. I mean, the size of the blade, the design, the review community would have been talking about this a lot, but we're not there anymore. So, I'll just put it this way. If you are looking for a reliable, functional, at least to me, attractive, without being weird, pocket knife for a little less than 50 bucks. The Ameight Gladiator may just be the tool for you. Now, the thumb studs are in the blade path, but because of the sharpening choil, they're not actually really far into the cutting path, which is a nice touch. I suppose an argument can be made that you could have made this without those, but in this day and age, people like multiple deployment methods. Now, recently somebody asked me, how come knife companies hate tip-down carry? I didn't know what to say because I hate tip-down carry, but this knife probably would have been well suited for that market as well, because it is kind of a tough-looking knife, and tip-down tends to lean into harder-use tools. If you're a lefty, you are out of luck. That kind of sucks, but beyond that, if you're looking for an excellent liner lock and good materials for not a lot of money, go check out the Ameight Knives Gladiator. I think you'll be glad you did. Thank you so much for your time. Remember, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll see you next time.